Have you ever wondered what it's like to be pushed to the absolute limit in freezing cold temperatures? Well, imagine being forced to endure that kind of torture while Nazis watched and documented every excruciating detail. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the infamous hypothermia experiments carried out by the Nazis and explore the gruesome and unethical methods they used to advance their twisted ideologies. Get ready to uncover the dark secrets of human testing and the shocking impact it had on its victims. During World War II, the Nazis conducted a range of experiments on human subjects in the name of medical research. The experiments were intended to advance the Nazis' understanding of medicine and science, but they came at a great cost to the lives of those used as test subjects. The experiments varied in their nature and purpose, but all shared a common theme of disregard for human life and suffering. One of the most notorious experiments was the hypothermia experiments, in which prisoners were exposed to extreme cold in order to study the effects on the human body. Prisoners were submerged in icy water, placed outside in sub-zero temperatures, and forced to endure other forms of extreme cold. The experiments were carried out to help the Nazis develop treatments for their soldiers who would be fighting on the Eastern Front, where temperatures could reach dangerous lows. The hypothermia experiments were carried out by Nazi doctors, including the infamous Dr. Sigmund Rascher, who became known for his brutal and inhumane methods. Rascher and his colleagues monitored the prisoners' body temperatures as they were subjected to freezing temperatures, trying to determine how long the human body could endure such conditions. The hypothermia experiments were just one of many cruel and inhumane experiments carried out by Nazi doctors during the war. Another infamous set of experiments involved the use of twins, who were subjected to a variety of horrific procedures in the name of science. The Nazis believed that twins held the key to unlocking secrets of heredity and genetics, and as such, they became subjects of experimentation. The experiments on twins involved injecting them with diseases, such as tuberculosis and typhus, and then comparing the results to those of their non-infected twin. The twins were also subjected to surgeries without anesthesia, with the doctors cutting open their bodies to study the effects of the diseases. The Nazi doctors also attempted to create conjoined twins by sewing them together, and even attempted to change the eye color of one twin to match the other. The experiments on twins were not limited to medical procedures. Nazi doctors also conducted psychological experiments on twins, including the use of drugs to induce artificial comas and other states of consciousness. The goal of these experiments was to gain insight into the nature of the human mind and consciousness, but the methods used were cruel and inhumane. The twins were not the only victims of Nazi experimentation. Prisoners were also subjected to experiments involving toxic substances, such as mustard gas and other chemical weapons. The Nazis were looking for more efficient and effective ways to carry out their genocidal campaign, and believed that these substances could be used to kill large numbers of people quickly and effectively. The experiments involving toxic substances were often carried out in gas chambers, which were designed to mimic the conditions of mass extermination camps. Prisoners were exposed to deadly gases and chemicals, and the doctors observed their reactions to the substances. These experiments were intended to help the Nazis develop more efficient methods of mass killing. Other experiments involved exposing prisoners to extreme pressure, such as in high-altitude tests, or subjecting them to various types of physical trauma. Prisoners were often subjected to amputations, burns, and other forms of torture in the name of science. One such experiment involved the use of phosphorus, a highly reactive and volatile substance. The Nazi doctors injected phosphorus into the bodies of prisoners, causing them to burst into flames. The doctors observed the effects of the substance on the human body, including the extent of the burns and the time it took for the experiment subjects to die. The subjects of these experiments were often left to suffer and die without any medical intervention, as the doctors were more interested in observing the effects of their experiments than in treating the victims. The Nazi experiments on human subjects were some of the most horrific and inhumane acts of medical research in history. The experiments were carried out with a complete disregard for human life and suffering, and were motivated by a twisted ideology of racial superiority and the desire for scientific advancement at any cost. Although the Nazi experiments were condemned by the international community after the war, their legacy lives on in the memories of the survivors and their families. The horrors of the experiments serve as a reminder of the importance of ethical principles in medical research and of the need to ensure that the rights and dignity of human subjects are respected at all times. Thank you for watching our video on the infamous Nazi experimentations and the horrors of human testing. We hope that this video has shed light on a dark chapter in history and served as a reminder of the importance of ethical principles in medical research. As we move forward in our pursuit of scientific knowledge and medical advancements, it is critical that we never forget the lessons of the past and that we always prioritize the safety and well-being of our fellow human beings above all else. We encourage you to continue learning about this topic and to share your knowledge with others so that we may never forget the atrocities committed in the name of science and never repeat them again. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in our future videos.